can see, we are no longer in paradise, Bahamas, Caribbean. No, we are back in rainy Las Vegas. It is Tuesday evening, about 5:15 in the PM. Rainy Tuesday. Managed to come down with a cold to top it all off towards the end of the Bahamas trip. So busted that tournament, came down with a cold. But all that being said, it was a great time. It was a pretty amazing event. And we also had some good luck in the cash games. Found some run good down there. The rake was very reasonable. Topped out at a maximum of $6 per hand. We played a total of 6 hours of cash games. 2 very short sessions, 2 3-hour sessions. In the first one, I won $1,600. And in the second one, I won $2,200. Great success. Pretty epic fog happening in Las Vegas tonight. Anyway, back in the home courts tonight, hopping into probably some 2-5, deep stacked, $1,500 max, no limit, Texas Hold'em. See if we can find a win on the home court here and create a little win streak following up the cash games there in the Bahamas. Alright guys, coming at you with that mid-session update, Jamin Burton style here at the Wynn. Game is, I would say, relatively decent, especially for a Tuesday. You know, you never really have super high hopes for a Tuesday night in Vegas. I was gonna walk outside here, but it's been raining, and I think it still might be raining. But yeah, a couple hands here real quick. As mentioned, we're playing 2-5 and fools around with the cutoff, who opens for $15. I like down at 7-5 of spades on the button. I like to put these one gappers, suited one gappers, into my 3 betting range. Decent amount of the time, not all the time, but decent amount of the time. Here, yes please, I make it 55 to go, and she makes the call. So heads up to a flop, which comes ace, 9, 7 with 2 spades. My opponent leads right out. She bets, I think like $60. I mean, she's only got maybe 300 behind that, and I don't know, it could go either way here. It could just flat and then call another bet on the turn, but decide to go for whatever fold equity we might have here in this spot. Just go ahead and jam it all in there. We're never gonna be in terrible shape. And she goes into the tank, happy to just take this one down right now, but no, she decides to call. So we're looking to improve, and we do in fact improve on the turn. Queen of spades, offsuit jack on the river, and I just go ahead and show, and she mucks her hand. So flush is good there. You know, I don't know, it's tough to get people off an ace, it's tough to get people off top pair, so not sure if it's super great jam on my part, but with all that equity, not a big deal either way. Shortly after that, I look down at 8-7 of hearts from under the gun, make it 20 to go, and only the big blind calls. Flop comes ace, queen, 5 with 2 hearts, and once again she leads right out. She bets 25 this time. I just decided to flat call this time, and the turn brings an offsuit jack. It does not improve us. This time she checks, so kind of a weird spot. I don't know, I just decided to bet it, and if I do get called here, I'm just gonna shut down on the river this time, since we have 2 hearts and we do not have good removal to any strong top pairs. So I feel like she's gonna be more likely to call the river, since we block hands that we want her to have, and we don't have removal from strong hands. So all those fancy words being said, she does fold. So who knows? Maybe she just had like a middling pair type hand there, but we take that one down with 8 high, so that's good. One more interesting hand thus far. I open up ace king off suit from the low jack. B calls from the hijack, the cutoff, and the button. So 4 ways to a flop this time, which comes king, 3 deuce with 2 spades. I see bet $55, which I think might even be a little bit on the small side. You can probably size up there expecting to get called from any king, any flush draw, any straight draw. Well, maybe not any straight draw, but an open-ended straight draw at least. But I bet 55, the hijack calls, and the button puts in a raise. Button makes it $125, so pretty small raise. Not gonna do anything other than call here, and the player to my left calls as well. Turn is an offsuit 4, and we check it over to the button again, who bets $250 this time. I'm not really convinced that we're beat just yet. Thing is that it's so rare that he should have 2 pair hands here. That leaves sets that we lose to, and that's it. There's plenty of draws available. There's an overvalued king, and it's only 250 into a pot of what, like 400 something at this point. So yeah, I'm gonna call once more here. I expect the player on my left to have a draw a lot of the time. So yeah, I don't know, we could be up against the same hand, we could be up against king queen, and you know, live players do crazy things all the time. So I want to see one more card, see what happens here. After I call, the player on my left calls as well. So pot is growing a little bit here. Off to a river card, which is an offsuit 9, total brick. I check it, player on my left checks, and the button just goes ahead and rolls over king deuce of diamonds. So the unexpected 2 pair is in fact smacking us in the face in this hand, that king deuce of diamonds. We get a little bit coolered when the flop comes king high, and he makes 2 pair as well. So that's a bummer, but what can you do? Takes us back down to somewhere around even-ish. Just gonna grind here for a little bit longer. Maybe got another hour in me or so, trying to stay on a reasonable sleep schedule. You know, every time I take a trip, I end up getting back on a somewhat normal schedule. I'm gonna try and stay on it for as long as I can, which probably means 2 days. But yeah, back to the grind. Wrapping up the session over here at the Wynn at a pretty reasonable hour, 12:30. I thought we'd go grab a beer, old times, just like old times, and chat about one more hand, tell you what I'm actually massively tilted about. Massive tilt.
1, 2, 3, jump!
All right, guys, welcome downtown. Welcome to the Griffin. 1 second. I got the microphone on now. I got the lavalier mic. Yeah, welcome to the Griffin. Welcome downtown. One of many fantastic, awesome bars here downtown, more specifically in the East Fremont district. This place, very Harry Potter-esque, kind of, but another great beer list, one of many beer lists you can find, especially downtown Las Vegas, and a fireplace, 2 fireplaces actually. What's not to like? All right, so one more hand to check out, and it's definitely an interesting one. I think we're playing maybe 7-handed here. I want to say even maybe 6-handed, but we'll say 7-handed. Under the gun is a good player, and we're pretty deep. I think we are, I want to say maybe $1,800 effective in a 2-5 game. No straddle on. Under the gun raises to $20. I like down at pocket kings, under the gun +1. A lot of times I'll just flat here, but I took a look around the table and I wasn't expecting too many frequent 3-betters from players to act behind me. So I go ahead and put in a 3-bet to $60. Folds all the way back around to the initial raiser, puts in a 4-bet, $210. Okay, interesting spot. Once again, one of those spots where I'm not gonna have a 5-bet bluffing range. So I go ahead and put in the flat call. Let's take this one to the streets. And this time it comes Queen 6, I believe, rainbow. My opponent puts out a C-bet of, I want to say $130. I make a standard flat call. Turn, I want to say, is like a 7 of spades, 2nd spade. Again, he puts in another bet, this time $375. I don't think there's going to be too much choice here, but I'm not exactly loving the situation. Losing to aces, losing to any queen, losing to like a flopped full house or a turned full house, but is he really going to be 4-betting those types of hands pre-flop under the gun versus under the gun +1? Kind of doubt it. I think he will have some queens in his range for sure, but how many? Probably not that many. So really, losing to pocket aces, I would expect him to slow down some percentage of the time with aces here. But anyway, I just feel like it's too good to fold here. So I go ahead and make a call. River comes a king. We make kings full on the river. Pretty favorable river card there, I would say. This time he checks it over to us. Now, at this point, I think I have maybe 1,300 or just under 1,300 in my stack. What would I do here with, like, would I ever have a bluff here? That I don't know. I kind of doubt it. I feel like the only real play here is to just jam it all in here, considering the size of the pot and considering his possible holdings. He might have aces, and he might find a fold with aces. I just don't know how likely that is. He might have ace-king, but there's only one of those left. That's going to leave a lot of queens that we can maybe get value from. And if that's the case, if he does happen to have a queen, I feel like we want to try and cooler him for the maximum here. I feel like a lot of other hands he's just going to find a fold with. So I decide on the jam, go for the maximum, and try to get the most value possible. Goes super deep into the tank and thinking for a long time. He eventually flips over a queen. So now I'm a little bit worried that he's going to find a fold here, and we're going to get a little bit owned. And what do you know, sure enough, he does in fact hit the muck with these cards. So pretty sick hand, pretty sick situation. He somehow 4-bets. I assume ace-queen gets a dream flop, safe turn card, but river card, he's no good any longer, and he finds a fold, puts all that money in with the best hand, way the best of it. At least on the flop and the turn, not pre-flop. And then, yeah, finds the fold on the river. I don't know. I mean, I guess we could have gone maybe for smaller value, like, I don't know, 600 or something. And then maybe he'll just be forced to call. But felt like he was going to have to call with a queen anyway. So apparently not. Well played by him. He's a good player and shows there, once again, good fold. Anyway, we drag in a nice pot there. And we book a win. I lock it up maybe half an hour, 45 minutes after that. We get into the game for $1,500, never add on. Cash out of this game for $2,678. That's $1,178 profit, according to my mathematics. So, good session. We do get what we asked for, what we hoped for. We keep a little win streak going, following our time in the Bahamas. 2-5-10 sessions down there, and a good 2-5, deep 2-5s at the Wynn. Yeah, keep it going. Good job, you guys. Proud of you. So, you guys might be asking, my good sir, what about this tilt thing? You won $1,100, almost $1,200. And I would say that's a very good question. The tilt actually has nothing to do with any particular poker session that I played. Not the usual sort of tilt. The tilt comes from some developments that have happened recently in the online poker world, and they come from online poker legislation happenings. You know, this stuff it can be super dry and super uneventful. All sorts of legalese speak, things that I don't understand, and I'm not going to try and pretend that I'm some sort of expert, but just a couple of developments and twists that I don't know why I still get surprised by these things happening when it comes to online poker legislation in the United States of America. So the first little instance, we were almost assuredly thinking that the online poker legislation that had passed in Michigan, in the House, in the Senate, was basically a done deal. All we needed was the governor's signature to sign off on this law. Turns out the governor decided not to sign that. He decided to veto that bill. For what reason? Well, according to him, he decided that we needed to protect that lottery money. We need people gambling on the lottery, not on online poker. This was going to be a good thing for the state. There would be certain percentages of tax revenue that was devoted to all these different parties, and everyone was happy about it. Somebody must have gotten in the governor's ear and said, no, that's not what we want. So that got squashed. Now, that being said, we're hoping that the next incoming group of legislators will hopefully pass the bill again. The new governor of Michigan will hopefully sign it, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. That new session starts this month, January 2019, so should be some things happening before too long, and we'll see what sort of developments happen there. But again, I don't know why I'm surprised by these things, but yeah, slightly tilting to come so close to my home state, having online poker in my home state. No such luck. Tilting developments number 2. So there's this thing called the Wire Act that was passed not only years ago, not only decades ago, half a century ago, this thing called the Wire Act was passed. Criminal enforcement bodies here in the US, they wanted tools to help fight the mob and the ways that they were funding themselves. So they wanted to put some rules in place that made it difficult to transfer bets, transfer information regarding bets and wagers across state lines when it came to sports betting. Fast forward to 2011, there was a memo that was written that basically said, okay, that's fine, but this thing only pertains to sports betting. And this memo paved the way for what we now have today, which is a player pool that combines players in Nevada, New Jersey, and Delaware. 2011 memo paved the way for some companies such as WSOP to go ahead, launch online poker, and merge these player pools. Well, guess what happened this week? We have another memo. The Department of Justice decided, no, this little Wire Act thing does not apply to only sports betting. It applies to all sorts of gaming. Again, I am no expert when it comes to all this legislation and what all these different memos mean and all the wordings. And in fact, a lot of experts are still trying to sift through the meanings of these different memos, particularly this one that passed this week, came down this week. I shouldn't say passed because it's not like it's a law that came from Congress. And again, this is probably very boring to a lot of you people, and it's very tilting to me. Check out this article by Haley Hintz, fantastic writer who's been doing all sorts of investigative journalism in the poker world for, I want to say, better part of 15 years, maybe even longer. She says, and I quote, "The 23-page opinion is claimed to be based on requests from within the Department of Justice, but the re-examination of the issue and rehearsal of the 2011 Holder opinion has long been pushed for by Las Vegas Sands Corporation CEO Sheldon Adelson, one of the largest GOP political donors in the U.S. Adelson has long sought to protect his land-based casino business from any possible online competition, spending tens of millions of dollars over the last decade in the effort." 99% of the audience, even the ones watching in the US, can find a site to gamble on today, right now, right this minute. Anytime you hear the debate between do we want online poker or do we not want online poker, that's a false debate. Do we want regulated, legal, safe, protected online poker, or do we want black market online poker? Once again, Sheldon Adelson and some friends in our fantastic government think black market online poker is the way to go. Will this end up being a big change to the industry? It remains to be seen, but man, can you tell I'm a little bit tilted? I mean, seriously, what the fuck?